I guess we're ready to start this, and with being new person in charge, so we'll try to get on too many screw ups. First thing is call to order in the roll call. So roll call will be Jim,
Present.
James, here, Connie, here, Janet, and Jeff, and of course myself, Jay. I'm here. So the first thing is approval of the minutes for today's meeting. Everybody approved on that?
I make a motion. A second.
Done. The next thing, I thought we were putting this later.
All in favor?
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, I thought we were going to do public communications later, but I guess we're doing it now. So the Fresh Waterways Advisory Board is providing opportunities for the public comments by submitting written comments to the city clerk's office via email at publiccomment@oceanshoresgov.com no later than 1 o'clock today. So do we have anybody?
So then I don't know.
Anybody have any public comment in here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I interrupt?
Hello?
We discussion at the end, you guys. This will be the first time that we're going to implement that, where we can actually answer questions and talk with you guys. So we're really looking forward to that. We'll have to figure out how to do it with Don on.
He could raise his hand.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So no comments right now, but we will be doing the discussion for the first time today at the end.
I think did Don want to talk?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I just want to say that the last meeting I asked about some information about the fresh waterways, things like some of the inlets and things and test points. And I really appreciate what Becky responded. I really appreciate what she did. And I guess she got some help from people in Public Works. I appreciate her addressing my questions. And thank you. The other thing is, I didn't see anywhere in the agenda today about any discussion about the fresh waterways, the study by Hera about the different levels of service and those sort of things. And I wonder if the Fresh Waterways Board is planning to discuss those and try to make a recommendation, because there's a rate study going on. It's been put out, and I think maybe the board should have some input on that. So thank you very much. Have a good meeting.
Thank you, Don.
Okay, so I guess our next up would be the city liaison report by Project Manager Becky Leach and Public Works Director Ricky Victoriano. Go ahead.
Okay, so I have Herrera. There is Clark from Herrera online, and he's going to talk about levels of service, like Don brought up. So also Clark is the Solar Bees rep on?
Yes, I'm here, if you can hear
Oh,
me.
perfect. Thank you. And also the rep from Solar Bees is here, which is really exciting. We might potentially get cost estimate. And I know I have questions. I know James has questions, but we will let you guys go for us, and then you may answer our questions before we even ask them.
Great. Well, let's see. So hi everyone. My name is Clark. I'm with Herrera Environmental Consultants. I worked with Katie Rodriguez on the development of the freshwater ways management plan. She is currently on maternity leave, but is returning later this month, which is very exciting, or later this week, actually, which is very exciting. So as part of the development of the freshwater ways plan, as you know, we broke up the freshwater ways into different management units. At Lake Bernard, Duck Lake, South Duck Lake, Fish Hook Canals, Bell Canals, etc. And then within each of these, we looked at 3 different levels of service, with the lowest being really monitoring and risk communication for any issues with algae blooms, and then with increasing investments. And one of the investments that we saw that could be helpful for Fish Hook Canal, as well as Bass Canal or the Bell Canal, is those with less circulation, especially in the summertime, would be to install circulation support devices. In this case, we specifically called out solar bees, and I'm being joined with Harv here from SolarBee, who will be able to talk more to that. That was in both the middle and higher level of service for fish canal or fish hook canal, specifically starting with a trial effort to see what the effectiveness is before investing in the other canals. And so we think fish hook, because of its higher amount of algae blooms and scums that form, would be a great place to trial out these solar bees. And I've asked Harv to provide more background on the solar bees, as well as update the cost estimates that we had developed earlier on during our planning phase. And so, Harv, I know you have a presentation, and so you can share that. And this is really looking at fish hook canal specifically. And I think, Harv, I know you're traveling, and so I was looking to have him provide that information, and then any other questions I may have or discussion, I'm happy to stay on and talk about the other management areas or any other questions that may not be specific to solar bees, just to be most respectful of Harv's time here. Does that sound
Yep.
good? I can't see everyone's faces, so I can't, it's hard to read through.
It sounds great.
Okay. Harv, why don't you go ahead and take over?
Okay, appreciate it. I'm going to turn my video off so it's not distracting, but I'm going to go share my screen. And okay, share. Okay. So if you can see that, then okay, let's go. There we go. Oops. All right. Wait a minute, I skipped to the wrong thing. 1 second. Moving a little slow for some reason. There we go. Okay. So I'm the regional manager for I've been involved with SolarBee since the beginning of well, actually since before the SolarBee. I won't get into that, but I am the regional manager that covers your area. That's basically a SolarBee that you see there. And some of the problems in lakes, obviously you're experiencing, is the fact that cyanobacteria can cause a loss of recreational use to some degree, especially if there's cyanotoxins that are present. And sometimes loss of property value is affected. There's lots of species of blue-green algae. I will say blue-green algae is technically not a true algae. It's actually a cyanobacteria. So I won't call out both from going on. But the three most common species are Anabina, Phanozonomen, and Microcystis. Since we've been working with them for the last 20, 25 years, we call them Annie, Fanny, and Mike. Little E. So, but they do have some advantages over other algae. They can regulate their buoyancy. They can move up for light, down for food. Some species can emit cyanotoxins, which are something you don't want in the water if you're in the water. They can fix nitrogen from the air, which is an advantage for them from a nutrient point of view. They tend to all lakes stratify during the summertime, and that's usually when most water bodies have a problem with cyanobacteria / blue-green algae. And they concentrate themselves in the epilimnion, which is from the thermocline up to the surface. The thermocline is different depending on how much clarity is in the water and so on, what the temperature is, and that can be determined by our crews and or some past historical data. So what we have found with our technology is that we have determined, we had a limnologist on staff for many years that helped us determine some of the possible mechanisms of why we've been so successful. And besides the cyanobacteria or blue-green algae species, there's other algae species and bacteria that compete for nutrients. That's one thing that can happen. But there's also what's called the cyanophage, which is a virus particle that specifically kills cyanobacteria. And the problem is all of those things, cyanophage and all the other algae and bacteria, they typically settle to the thermocline, so they become basically not very effectively, and there's no effective control anymore. The solar bee long distance technology, which is basically an engineering technology with numerous patents that have allowed us to design a unit that can pull high volumes of water from a lower depth and distribute it over a long distance, allows us to basically resuspend the cyanophage and other algae species and bacteria and keep them resuspended. And then that creates an environment of where the blue-green algae or cyanobacteria basically disappear. And this has been proven by us in we have about 2,000 units installed in about 500 water bodies worldwide. This is a representation of the unit in a water body with the intake just slightly above the thermocline. And so basically we're pulling water long distance up the draft tube. There's suction. This is basically a suction line that's 3-foot diameter. Total flow is around 10,000 GPM, takes it to the surface. This is a representation of how the flow looks like, if you can see that. One of our patents is a bottom plate that we make sure that is designed so that it can't pull vertical. That allows us to pull water a long distance, kind of like pulling a rope. That we can take this high volume of water up to the surface. And our second patent was this large stainless steel dish to allows the water to come off as near laminar as possible, so we can push it a long distance. This is what a solar bee unit looks like, typically. If there's boat traffic, we just have these extra markers. You can also put a beacon on top if there's night traffic on the lake. We have them installed in lakes where they have all kinds of activities, fishing, water skiing, sailing, whatever. You can see in this picture here, this is actually a drinking water reservoir, so there's no activities, but you can see there's a few solar bees. They're spaced out here about 1/4 of a mile apart. The unit's designed for long life, mostly all stainless steel, as an onboard battery so it can run at night. I already mentioned it circulates about 10,000 GPM up this large intake tube. Because of our long distance pull, we can actually space our units in a lake at about what we call 30-acre spacing, or about a 700-foot radius. We can either tether, in your case, we're limited, we can't use our standard anchoring because you only have an 80-foot wide channel here. So we can either tether the units to shore, but if that's a problem, then we can do what's called short scope anchoring, where the machine basically is kept into about a 20-foot diameter radius. Here's an example of a before and after. This is just
Holy cow.
Yeah.
this is about 8 weeks after the installation. And this is we have obviously lots of case studies, and so based on spacing, a lot of most typically we're doing a reservoir where it's a large water body. This case, Loveland Water and Power, 160 surface acres. So we had 5 units installed. You can see this is a 1/4 of a mile spacing. They were using chemicals to try to control blue-green algae. They wanted to get away from that. So we eventually installed these 5 units, and since then they don't use any more chemicals. This is probably the worst blue-green algae bloom I've ever seen since I've been doing this. This is in Colorado as well. It's at a power plant, and they have this reservoir is 500 surface acres, and they put a heat load on it, and it's basically a cooling lake. We basically replaced a 300 horsepower aeration system, and then eventually they were concerned about pH, and so we were able to lower their pH and improve the clarity of the lake from about 2 feet to 10 feet. That's the worst one I've ever seen. We have lots of examples, but I know I only had 10 minutes, so and here's the approximate cost that we would estimate. Based on fish hook, I don't know if you can see this image, but if we place 3 units, we'd prefer to go with our larger units if possible, to get the most impact, because we have these curves to deal with. The units will still pull water basically around the curve because they're pulling water, but obviously it's more effective if it's straight line. This is an approximate cost at this point. This includes factory delivery and placement, the equipment, and where we actually deliver and place the equipment. The purchase cost around 190,000 for the 3, but we do have a rent-to-own option where you pay a monthly rental charge for a year, the factory install, which totals about 79,000. But if you convert it to a purchase anytime in that year, you've already paid for this, so that's 100%. And then we apply 50% of the rent towards the purchase, so you don't lose it all. We're kind of a sharing. So I don't know if there's any questions. I can obviously provide a lot more information, but I wanted to limit it so you had some time for questions.
Go ahead, Connie.
I do have a question because you did mention fish hook. Fish hook is very, very narrow, and I'm looking at how big this unit is, but would boats be able to get around it?
Yep, it's about 16-foot diameter. And, so basically I understand it's about 80-foot fish hook.
Nope.
Nope.
It's too big.
Well, unless it went into the section that's between duck and fish hook, that right there, because then you could actually go around it.
And they could also put in Grand Canal at the entrance.
Yes.
One on each end.
Yeah, that's it. One on each end. That'd be the wisest thing to do.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
One on
you.
each end.
We all answered the question.
When
Okay.
you talked about placing and anchoring or securing them, if they're secured on the shore, I'm guessing you couldn't then drive your boat across them?
Nope.
Oh.
So we would want to
Anchor.
anchor them down
Yeah.
from the bottom.
Definitely.
Otherwise, you can't float around them.
Is there any issue with anchoring at the bottom?
No, that's what I would propose, the short scope anchoring, which is it's not our standard, but we use it for where we need to keep it in a small zone. So this basically would be a heavy anchor, obviously a short chain because it's only 10 feet deep. So basically you would keep it in about a 20-foot diameter area.
How shallow do these operate in? How shallow water do these work in?
Well, we ideally want to put them, I understand this is maybe 9 to 10 feet deep.
3.
Some places in that is only like.
It doesn't get over 6 in there.
Right.
That fish hook is
probably have.
6 at max at
Oh.
high levels.
Oh, 6. Okay, I had the information that was maybe around 9 feet, but we can operate in about 3 foot of water. We would just have to pull the adjustable intake hose, which is this up. We just have to adjust it to only go to a desired depth. So if we put it where it's 6 feet, then we're obviously going to want to keep it off the bottom. So we'll probably want to have it set at 4 or 5 feet deep. Assuming your level doesn't change much, I don't think it does correctly. Right.
Time.
It'll drop a foot or two, I think, in the summer.
Yeah, easily.
Oops.
Would be okay if it was minimal. I don't think it gets below 3.
Well, the other day, we were at 3'6" through that whole fish hook. There wasn't any deeper than 3.5 feet, the whole distance.
Even at the intersection of duck, it's
It's a little deeper there, but when we're talking about going through that channel, we were in the other day, it's 3.5 feet. It doesn't get any deeper than that. And it's at its highest depth right now.
And yeah,
It's winter.
It probably gets down to 3 feet or less, maybe a little less.
It does get down.
by August.
I've seen it at 1.5 feet.
Yeah.
So I run my GPS anytime I go through the filter depth. That's really shallow.
So, okay, so,
Well, it would have to
So-
be like that north, south entrance.
Yeah.
so even in these larger areas here, it's only 3 foot deep or less?
The fish hook, specifically the fish hook.
Okay,
Mainly in Fish Hook, it would probably have to be on the north and south access to the canal, because if you put it in the middle of the canal, nobody would be able to get through.
Anywhere.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, it's not wide enough.
Have it at the two entrances.
That's two boats, basically, side by side.
Won't work.
so what do you think the width is of the canal? I know, Tim, you were saying maybe, it was more than that, but,
So at the top of that fish hook, there's a body of water that connects to the lake there. That's
Uh-huh.
probably the deepest part of that whole canal.
okay,
At the top of
Your
your,
north end of Fish Hook Canal.
yeah.
right here,
Yep, yeah.
okay.
So something
then
we can do is request that while Aquatechnics or another applicator is out, for them to use their bathymetric mapping tool. I'm actually gonna get some high resolution mapping here to see across all these depths and be able to provide that to Harv for siting these to make sure we can put them in the deepest locations. And we'll want to put that in consideration of what the elevation of the lake is. Certainly that'll be a bit lower then, so it's kind of getting more towards worst case. So we can request that as part of while they're out doing the treatment, is also just to go through and do that mapping.
I like it.
Do you have any other questions for the solar bees rep?
So.
I'm allowed to.
Of course.
So in the diagram that you showed, the solar bee, does it shoot out in three different directions or multi-directions or?
It actually, it's actually moving water, pulling water all directions. It's wide open here in the bottom, except for the vertical's not open. And then this dish is 360 degrees in and out. So it's moving very gently. It's moving water. It's designed to move it very gently to minimize energy loss.
Like this.
Yeah, I like that.
Are these units designed to be permanent
Yes,
and they operate 24/7?
24/7. They're direct drive, no gearbox, solar powered.
They have a 25 year.
Yeah, I saw that life expectancy. That's good.
Well, we'd be buying them.
You can buy them
Or
or
rent
rent
them.
them, whichever way we want to.
We should make sure they get results before we bite the bullet.
You have it. You have more, Kurt?
What?
Did you have more you wanted to? I do have one other question though.
Uh-huh.
What happens, how quickly can someone be here if one of them breaks?
Well, they rarely break, but if they do, then under the 2 years, we actually cover not only, as part of that install, we'll send our crews out. I mean, it could be a couple weeks before they can get there, 2-3 weeks,
Okay.
depending on the schedule.
Is there a lake close by that we could see them at?
Let's see, you're in Oregon?
No, we're in Washington.
Oh, you're in Washington. Oh, yeah.
Western Washington.
Ocean Shores, Washington, right? Western Washington. Oh, you're way up on the shore, on the seas. Yeah.
That's on.
I'll have to look what the closest one would be for you. To see how
Okay,
close
could
it
you
is.
let us know that?
Sure,
We might need to
sure.
do a little field trip.
Okay.
And this would have no additional utilities attached to it? So you would
Nope.
you wouldn't have the expense of running electric lines or?
No, because we're lifting water, just lifting water from the desired depth to the surface. Water's actually pushing down while we're lifting up. So we just lift the water to the surface. So we essentially have no differential head when you think about a pump. And so this impeller is turning at about 80 RPM. You can actually see it. It's a big impeller. Low head because we only have to overcome whatever this friction loss is. And because we have this 3-foot diameter suction line, our friction loss is minimal. So we only have 0.2 inches of head loss. So we only need 40 watts of power, but we actually have three, let's see, where's that one picture? Let's see, where is it again? Oh, here it is. We have three 80-watt panels. And because of this triangle shape, 2 of the 80-watt panels are mostly exposed all the time, no matter how it rotates. So we have 150, 160 watts available and need 40 watts. So it's designed, so it's storing it in the battery all day, and then at night it runs off the battery because it'll run essentially 24 hours a day. And there's virtually no maintenance except for maybe, once a year, maybe squeegee off the panel if it's gotten dirty.
Would we be running it all year?
It doesn't hurt to run it. There's no cost for power. So it's ideally, it's constantly circulating. Obviously you want it from spring through through the end of the summer, which is most of the year. The wintertime, what happens, the nights cool off and this water on the surface gets colder and heavier. So then it starts to fall. So then it actually mixes, your water body mixes on its own. So at that point, it's not necessarily providing a benefit anymore during those few months, but it does, it's not taking any power. So it's
I
up to you.
think fish hook's a little special and might have cyanobacteria all year long. It's very swampy, but.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then
Are
you want to
they-
run it, you would want to run it year round in
Yeah.
that case.
Yeah.
Are they tamper resistant, or what type of damage have vagrant boaters caused with them, if any?
It's rare because most people realize that there's a benefit to them, so they don't do anything. But on the rare occasions that they've been damaged, it's been minimal. Some people, messed up the solar panels, or there's not a whole lot that they can really damage other than the solar panels.
I have one more question. Where we live here on the coast, it's cloudy a lot. There's a lot of moisture in the air. I don't know how well that's going to work with these solar panels, if it will charge with all of that, the cloud cover that we have. And also another thing is, like my string lights at home that are solar panels, I have to clean them off all the time because they get the green mossy stuff on them. How's that going to affect these?
If that's the case, then you'll want to just take a squeegee and just squeegee them off once in a while. That'd be the only maintenance that I can perceive at this point. Oh, and let's see, you said something else. Well, we only need 40 watts. We got the capability of always having about 160 watts available. So we're always, there's some solar energy coming through, even if it's not total, if there's, if it's been cloudy. Obviously, there won't be as much energy going into the battery. The unit does have logic built into the control system, so it wants to run all the time. So what it's going to do is keeps looking at how much power is available, and if it needs to, it's going to start slowing itself down, primarily at night, because at night it's not as important to run full speed as it is during the day. So it'll start. So basically, it's attempting to never turn off. If it does turn off, it might take a day or so to recharge.
All right. One more question.
You might have already said, but in our situation, how quick would we see an improvement with this?
Well, in lakes, typically we have seen within, even in the middle of a bloom, we've seen approximately about an 8-week improvement within 8 weeks or less, sometimes even less. But in that one lake that I showed you, believe it or not, let's see, let me get back here, I guess, this one. Within about 6 weeks, you could see the algae dying, the blue-green algae dying. And then eventually it was pretty clear within about 8 weeks.
That is amazing.
It is.
Next question. Does the units, is there any concern for wildlife, fish, birds, etc.?
No, not, I guess in the southern states, we've had like little alligators and stuff like that climb up on them.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah, we'll have carps.
Oh, yeah.
But small fish can actually fish.
What's that?
Small fish can actually swim up through the impeller area and not get hurt because it's moving slowly. And it's rare anything gets caught in them, but if it does, we can put an anti-jam. There's an anti-jam in it where it wants to auto reverse, and at that point, and so it'll auto reverse and clear it if there's something in there. But there's not a lot of torque. It's not like it's gonna crush anything. But it might stop the impeller. So.
All right, my other question would be for Becky, I suppose. Have you looked yet into how many would we need in this city?
No, this is the first presentation that we've had with Solar Bees.
Didn't you say on
I'm getting the
cost?
impression
How
that-
many? 3.
Yeah, so it 3 for fish hook, and then the others that is recommended to do after a trial in fish hook is bass and the bell canals.
I saw 3 at 90K.
That's it said 211,000 for the first, and I had a question about that, and that might be for you, Clark. The 211,000 for the first 3 years, is that total over 3 years, or is that a year per 3 years?
Okay, so it's 190,000 purchase price total,
Okay.
and you own them.
And that's for one, right?
That's for all 3.
Oh, I see it now, okay.
But this is an optional 12-month rental. So if you pay for the install upfront and then you pay for some rent, whatever rent you paid, half of it would go towards the purchase. So this 80,000, so 40, if you rent it for a year and you didn't convert it until the year, 40,000 would go apply against this 190, and the 22 you've already paid. So you would have basically 60,000 less. So you'd have 130 left to convert it to a purchase.
So financially, this seems like it's a much better cost than the alum treatment would be for the phosphorus, because that's really expensive. Is it something that you could see we would put in all of our canals?
Yes, so this is something you could put in all the canals. Obviously we're dealing with these little bends in the lake, which make it, that's why we have 3. But
Right.
The technology is designed to be, sustainable for 25 years. So the only real maintenance is in about 8 years, we need to replace a battery. And other than that, there's no other mechanical thing that should fail during that 8 years. So.
Yeah, do you know how much the batteries cost?
Yeah, they're special because we use a very high-end battery that you can. We actually have the connections potted into the battery, so there's nothing that can ever come loose, and so they're about $800 or so.
How often?
About every 8 years.
Not bad.
So the idea would be, since I'm supposed to worry about the money end of this stuff, the idea would be to replace chemicals?
We would, every lake that we go in that's had chemicals, they no longer use chemicals, but.
Yeah, in the long run.
Yeah, that is certainly the hope, but we need to explore whether these would be effective in the fresh waterways of ocean shores. And so we think that fish hook, as being one of the worst cases, would be a great place to evaluate that. While in Harv's experience, they've been able to prevent chemical treatment, we want to leave that on the table if it becomes apparent, or whether that be an algaecide treatment or an alum treatment if a bloom does occur, that you'll have contractors available that you could bring in that support. But again, we want to start with the lowest impact approaches.
Okay.
And we do have Terry McNabb from Aquatechnics is licensed to do the alum treatment and ion treatment. So we are covered there if we needed to bring somebody in.
Yeah, and we'd be looking to do that lower dose alum treatment if that were to occur. And I'll point out just that you'll notice there are some dollar differences between what was developed in plan and what Harv has shown here. During the development of the plan, we had assumed smaller units, and so those were somewhat lower costs. And so these dollars aren't going to match up perfectly, but they are very much in the same ballpark. And I think a great approach for you all, my recommendation would be to evaluate the rental approach, look how effective it is over a year, and then take advantage of that rent to own option if it has been effective.
So a cost comparison.
Chemicals versus the solar bees. Clark, would we be able to do a cost comparison would we be able, like, will we know how much alum we would potentially need?
I could develop a quick dose estimate here. I probably actually have those around
I think
somewhere.
it's in our level of service too.
Yeah, I don't have it all off the top of my head, but I might. Um, individual alum treatment would likely be solar lower than solar bees, but would only last probably for a year. And so one of the benefits investing in solar bees or these other sort of mechanical, no chemical approaches would be to avoid those higher annual costs. Let me see if I can bring out that number.
On the low one, it's got it at 7.2K for bath and fish hook currently.
For the alum treatment?
On the low,
What does it say on the high one where it has all of them?
145.5. So, and then that's with the enhanced circulation down there on the fish hook, and that's additional 82. So it looks like for each one, it's just combining. For the alum treatment, it just looks like it's 145.5, so 145,000 for all North Grand, South Grand, North Duck, Mid Duck, North Duck Lake, and that's.
Yeah, and those cost estimates are assuming that all of those water bodies are being treated at the same time. They have the same permitting costs and the mobilization from the contractor. If we were to be treating only, say, fish hook, it wouldn't be 10% of that cost. It would still have a lot of the mobilization and permitting costs that are associated with it. So it scales up nicely for alum treatment or algicide treatment. And we can talk more about kind of like those dollar trade-offs and evaluating a combination of those levels of service. What we did was provide those three, but certainly we can help support, tweak as we move forward with these estimates and get updated cost estimates from contractors like Harv.
I think we have one more question for Harv. Are there different sizes of solar bees available?
There are, but they both, the different size units all use the same motor and the same frame, so it's not a huge difference in cost. So we quoted these units because we can probably deal with the shallowest water the best, even though they're the largest based on the intake design.
Would it benefit us if we went forward with this in, our narrow passageways to do a smaller unit?
It would be the same frame, so it wouldn't.
Okay.
It would be the same
Okay.
size. Structurally, it's the same size, just the motor and capacity is smaller than what I got from him.
And then,
Yeah, the impeller and the intake.
Yeah, what kind of a guarantee is there in this? If it's 6 months down the road and we're in a year contract or whatever, and it's not working, do we just have to keep paying monthly or whatever?
Harv, we can't hear you anymore.
I will say that I don't think there's a specific guarantee that is offered. I think just during the rental period, we'd be evaluating its effectiveness and then looking to make a decision of whether that the observed effectiveness is reason to purchase or for it to be returned. But there is reason to believe that it can be effective in order to help alleviate the stagnant conditions within fish hook. We are going to be putting in moving water. So we're not going to have that buildup of algae scums that occur in fish hook just by pushing them out, as well as the algae aren't going to be building up in the same densities because they are being moved around. And as Harv spoke to, we'd also be combating some of the evolutionary advantages that cyanobacteria have, such as their ability to regulate buoyancy. and giving more opportunity for more benign algae to grow in their stead.
Jay.
So it says that there's a built-in SCADA brain board. What sort of data acquisition is going on with this? Is there like constant water quality monitoring while you're running it?
We're actually developing that. We do have we're working on coordinating. Well, first of all, the SCADA basically outputs information on the machine as far as RPM and other data. There's 5 things you can pull. But we're working on trying to get some sensors that can provide other water quality data connected to it.
Okay.
Okay, Sherry, this is gonna be the last question.
Well, she had asked about guarantee. I'm curious about the warranty.
Years.
Warranty.
2 years.
The machine comes with a 2-year warranty, and since we are providing delivery and install, that includes our crews if the machines fail. So, 2-year equipment warranty. And in this case, since we deliver and install, we're also including the labor warranty.
Okay,
And, yeah.
so that we can keep the meeting moving along. This was a ton of really great information, Harv. Thank you so much for being here and all of the information. Could you send it to Clark so that he could pass it my way and I'll share it with the board?
Send you what? I didn't catch that.
I have all that information that you sent me earlier today, Harv, and I'll forward it on to you, Becky.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Harv.
Okay, yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Clark, so that took longer than what we were thinking, but do you still have time to give us some information on your thoughts on Solar Bee's level of service and
Sure. And I don't have anything specifically prepared. I'm just happy to talk about them. I think that I'm very hopeful that solar bees could be an effective tool within the canals. I'm less positive they would be effective in, say, like Duck Lake or Lake McNard for mixing as a way of combating. What I'm really interested in is enhancing the circulation within the canals to prevent that accumulation. But within Duck Lake and Lake Menard, there's a really large system, so we need to put in a lot of these, and so it'd just be a much larger upfront investment. So I think starting with the canals to make this evaluation, because it does provide this pathway forward for a chemical-free option with a lower cost ongoing management. I think it's really worth exploring, but I do want to say that this is not going to be a sure thing or can be guaranteed, but it does provide the possibility of those benefits. And so I want us to have realistic expectations for it, and then we've seen there's been some great case studies that Harv shared. There also have been other cases where I've seen solar bees installed in lakes and have had more mixed success. So I just don't want folks to feel like this is guaranteed. And I think you all already understand that. Similarly, I think that's why we are kind of keeping alum treatment or algicides in our back pocket. Algicides would work, but only for a short period. Alum treatments would work for likely a year, but again, because we have so much nutrients coming into the groundwater into Duck Lake, this is something that's going to require ongoing maintenance. It's not ever going to be something that can just be done once.
Is there a limit to the depth at which you think they're effective?
In terms of shallowness or in terms of or deepness? Both, yeah, I guess that's a good question. I think so they're really focused around mixing the top 10 feet of water or down to about like 10 feet, maybe 15 feet. So that's where they adjust it. In terms of shallowness, I think that I wouldn't want it to go below or be more shallow than 3 feet in order to enhance circulation. I also think it might be worth exploring other circulation options. As you saw with Solar Bee, they're more radial, and really we're kind of looking more, I would say, I'm thinking like more of like a lazy river situation. And so based off my work, I've worked mostly with lakes, and so I'm thinking mostly radially, but I haven't looked into canal-based circulation. So that's something I think that would be worth exploring just for other options that exist. I think solar bees are a very affordable product, and I think the use of solar panels and just the way they're set up is really innovative. But also, I think it's always great to like look at other options. And so, while in the report we identified solar bees, but really we were recommending any type of enhanced circulation. So I think I would recommend just doing a quick, maybe 3 different alternatives that may exist for enhancing circulation and looking at those cost benefits of each of those. And I can reach out to some of my colleagues to who have done more work in canals that may be able to identify types of equipment that could work. But that's not just, and again, I'm not saying solar bees wouldn't work in this location in terms of enhancing that circulation, but they may be, built for a specific radial purpose, whereas right now we're looking for a more linear purpose.
Clark, would the solar bees hinder any spraying or any chemical that we did decide to go ahead and use?
No, certainly they would need to be navigated around, but I don't see them as taking up the entirety of a canal. And already folks should be going at a speed in those canals that they would not, they would be able to easily navigate around
That's a whole nother
these solar
topic.
bees. That's a whole other topic, and there's all that should, definitely put as many cones as you can around them. Maybe use some of that solar energy for one of the waving men that you see at used car dealerships. They would not affect the treatment, and whether it's an herbicide or an alum or an algicide. In fact, by their enhanced circulation, they may be able to support movement of those, except for in cases where we're like looking to like paint on herbicides to plants. But at that point, any kind of circulation shouldn't really have an impact because it is such a direct application. So the answer is no.
Thank you.
It was a long way of saying no.
But a good no.
Any other questions for Clark? Okay, thank you very much, Clark.
Thanks, Clark.
All right, thank you all.
Information and bringing solar bees. I'll be in touch tomorrow.
All right, sounds great. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
That was so interesting.
Okay, Becky, before we get on to something else, I'm hoping this is still open for discussion a little bit. Listening to them in that presentation, I just don't see that working well in our canal systems. Like you're saying, it's more for an area that goes around in a circular motion, where ours is linear.
Yeah.
You put those on each end of Bass Canal, it's going to make it nice at the ends. But the center of Bass Canal is probably not going to get helped at all.
I think for something like that, and I don't know if this is the solution for us or not, but I think that if we found that it was just circulating on the ends, another one would go in the middle.
If you put one in the middle, then the boats can't.
There's nobody gets through.
We'd have to do
Yeah,
some.
you could never do that in Bass.
We would have to do some.
With their pumps.
Yeah, you can't
Right.
because it's
So-
15 feet
I have
around.
another company, local.
Well, but they can add them, but they can't go down enough in the boat.
Because it's too narrow of a
Yeah,
canal.
That is okay. 2 boats.
Yeah,
Well,
Exactly.
yeah.
15 feet wide, you won't be able to go around it.
Never get around it.
I think we got somebody who's on Bass.
yeah.
Yeah.
On Bass or,
Those areas that he picked out, I measured on Google Earth, they're 60 feet across on the Fishhook Canal.
On the
16.
north and south ends.
yeah.
Yeah, that's,
But he picked out, kind of like where it would pillow out a little bit.
but will that circulate it through enough to go through the whole canal? If you
Yeah,
got
that's why he had them spaced out. They can go a quarter mile apart.
Yeah.
So
So
in my mind, you
created.
could put them almost I would say less than a half mile apart, closer than a quarter mile
But
apart.
Ricky, that would mean having to put one in the middle somewhere, and we can't do, we can't both.
But it wouldn't because that canal gets so much traffic, you're pulling that water through back and forth. That's the highest travel area in all the waterways. Yeah, no, the fish hook.
Fish hook.
Yeah, fish hook.
So one on each end makes sense unless we find another alternative.
But what if we did one on each end and then in the middle, we did one like what I've got outside of mine?
Well, there's a company called, and I've got it, I've been researching it for years.
Oxygenation.
Yeah, the one that just keeps the water.
RPS, well, RPS, they're the number one pump system in canals that does all this. These guys are out of Australia. The guy that we just talked, they're out of Australia. I did some research on them. They're out of Australia.
North Dakota.
What's that?
North Dakota.
Not the manufacturer, for the IXOM. They manufacture them in Australia.
Something.
Okay, from RPS? Okay.
Okay, 1 minute, let this go.
I drove the electric boat and the entire one was. I don't believe these. No way, we're gonna have people running over these things. They're gonna be damaged. That's a guarantee. Even if you put one at the beginning of the fish hook where it connects to that dead end canal, there's gonna be somebody coming out of the dead end or going in there. And I don't believe there's gonna be enough circulation if you put them on that spot and where it enters the Grand Canal is gonna work. The center of that canal is just, I don't care what he says about flow with boats, because when there are no boats, that algae is so bad it smells like a sewer.
Yes, it does.
I think, and the fact that you try to put it in the middle, navigation is gonna be ruined. And on the Bass Canal, it's even worse, because we have a very narrow canal. The only place you could effectively do that is right at the corner where the entrance makes a turn to go north. That would be one spot you could put one right there, possibly close to the corner. Then it's not gonna have the existing bit of circulation capacity.
What's our narrowest canal, just so I know?
I live on the Bass Canal.
What,
Fish hook.
fish hook's the narrowest? Okay.
Yep. What was the name of that company you just said?
It's RPS solar pumps. RPS. So, and they've got an insignia. So they're, back when there was another mayor here, I approached them with this solution. You know, I was sent to see somebody else and they sent me to see somebody else. And I have quite an email conversation with Department of Ecology before they decided we could do this. So they're solar pumps, for things we could maintain ourselves. They're smaller, but they move hundreds of thousands of gallons of water. 128,000 gallons of water in one pump, and they're smaller than that table.
Yeah.
So
Well, it sounded like, that
$4,000, by the way.
the other main.
He's got some other choices.
Yeah, there are choices.
Yeah. We'll have to do some.
That was a
Yeah.
So big.
Yeah. we-
shell shock price.
What I didn't like at the very end, like, it's the elephant in the room. Clark said, like, he doesn't know how these are gonna work in canals.
Exactly.
He's opened
Right.
something
Yeah, he was.
Exactly.
That was mine.
All this time.
But it was good to see this one, because I'm gonna say this is probably gonna be the biggest of all of them.
That's true.
It was good to see this one first,
Mhm.
and then we can just go from there.
So you were asking him, Connie, about if they had anything local. Bellevue, these people that I'm telling you about, they have a location in Bellevue that's using these pumps that I'm talking about.
Okay.
So
Cool.
close enough that we could contact the city of Bellevue.
Oxygenation.
Aerators,
Aerators.
Okay.
circulation aerators, for like for farm ponds. We have a giant pond here. If we locate them strategically,
Right, we're talking about just.
and they're under when I was pricing them out, they're under the best pump they make is under $4,000. So they're solar powered, same concept. They're smaller. We'd probably have to do our own maintenance. We'd have to set them. I mean, you're not hiring a company for.
Have to do our own maintenance.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you get them for 4,000, you can hire maintenance.
Right?
Or you can have
So I figured we need 19 strategically located.
Well,
Yeah, I've got a map. I've got a
okay,
whole diagram of
I
it.
think we got a lot of thinking to do.
yeah.
There are downsides to aerators too. We use them in our lagoons at the wastewater treatment.
Mhm.
plant. And so even when you're using those, there is a concern for circulation.
Right.
So we have, no, they don't get plugged up at the bottom, but you have to, they just shoot water up.
Yep.
So there's a movement.
Very budget.
At the bottom.
Oh, yeah, because it isn't,
Similar to what you guys have.
you still have to have that circulation.
Which has now buried itself, one of them. So
All right, are we done
that's good.
talking fish? Anybody got anything else to say?
Got any more reports?
No, I do not. Tim?
Ricky, do you have?
You got anything more, Ricky?
Yeah, so the, boat. I'm not sure who it was that was there.
Me and James.
Okay, I was gonna say, Ken said that some people stopped by. We got keys made. It started and it ran, but it wasn't pumping any water. So we ordered new parts. We're hoping to get those sometime this week and get it up and running. And then, we're gonna take care of the 3 trees that we have, one in Fishhook Canal and then 2 on Bass.
The one in Fishhook Canal, James and I and Jeff went out and cleared that
Okay.
Thursday and Friday, so it's off to the side where you just gotta be,
Oh, okay.
it's open now.
Is that, what is it by the dock or where's it at on the side there?
It's right by the
Against the
dock
bank.
on what side is
bank.
that?
It's on the Falls of Clyde side.
Yeah, the Falls of Clyde side.
The big part of it's on the Falls of Clyde side.
Are we gonna be able to use that boat once it gets done? We'll be able to take it out to do
Yeah, I
so.
think so.
What does that look like? Are you guys gonna keep it in the water? Ricky, are you guys gonna be putting it in and out? As you use it?
We're probably gonna take it in and out as we use it. We'll keep it in the public works yard just so it's staying hopefully dry. We, yeah, we don't have anywhere indoors to put it, but hopefully out of. We can keep an eye on it.
So Ricky, if we take it out and use it, can we come over and get it from there and put it in, or do you have to put it in and we'll coordinate? And then in fact, if we're gonna do like for a weekend, because we all have docks.
Yeah.
Can we just dock it for the night? And then if we coordinate all this with you,
I think so.
I just want to make sure that it's not gonna be so strict that, okay,
Yeah, and so I think just as far as, actually, I'll have to double check.
okay, that's fine.
I don't know how it's gonna work with insurance.
Okay,
Because I know that everyone that's going to be operating. And then, they're each going to be. There's a bunch of check boxes.
okay.
Saying that we're gonna do this work with it, so.
Well, we'll do what we have to do. So
Yeah,
we need to get cards. Gotcha.
That might be an issue where it's just kind of like bringing members of the public into city equipment while city employees are running it, so.
Okay.
I'll have to double check with that.
All right, I guess that finishes up that.
At the end, we'll have
I have a
it.
question regarding the Bass Canal.
Let's try to save everything to the end.
End of the-
Our business.
Yeah.
Regarding this clearing.
I'm sorry, let's wait till the end and we'll have an open discussion so we can finish our business.
Okay, so the next one is old business, previous topic follow-up presented by James.
I'm gonna go to Tim though, because see if he has a report with that group too. Do you have anything with the grant?
Not yet. I'm waiting to hear back from. People. I should hear something tomorrow.
With this grant, if we do get the grant, could we use the grant toward like placeholder B if we did go with that?
I think because it's for sale, I was actually answering for you, I'm sorry. No.
I believe that would not be able to use it, right? Because of this version.
For cyanobacteria treatment, but I don't know if it's specifically for chemicals,
Or equipment.
right?
So I'm not sure. I'd have to ask him that question, honestly.
It also doesn't fund until 2027, so for this summer, yeah.
Oh. All right, I'll move on to what we've done then. The ordinance has been changed or both been changed as of last city council meeting, so that is now that we don't have to fuss with anymore.
Can we do a woohoo? Woohoo!
The only thing I'd add to that is make sure not crossbows, only bow and arrows, okay? No crossbows.
Yeah, no crossbows. Pipes did we talk about that or we're waiting on Marshall for that?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got lots of fish, of course, we just talked about that. I reached out to Fish and Game. Ken, I think is his name, and he's the one that's in charge of well, he's not really in charge of it, but he has contact information for people that do tournaments for card tournaments and things. So I'm pending feedback from him, but he's trying to reach out to people in the
The city says lots of.
yeah, or Tri-City, I mean, not state, Tri-City area, and then he's gonna give me that information, so. After that, life jackets was on here pending, but they're turned over to you, right? Okay. That's title's done. Wow, we're moving right along, guys. Procalor, got you. Land boy spray, but we already. took care of
Oh,
that too.
yeah, Terry McNabb and I talked today. You know what happened to council at passed. He's gonna be here, I think, in April for Procalor first, and there's gonna be multiple treatments. He is going to update the proposal for pennywort.
Yes.
Yeah, the most hated aquatic weed in Ocean Shores.
Yep.
And we talked about that today. And that is something that can be treated outside of the fish window as well. And he thinks the best time to start treating that is when he comes out for the second treatment of the Procalor.
Oh,
So I did have an update for that.
and that's another one.
Yeah.
That's all we have.
Okay, so that's back to new business. Says that this is gonna be handled by me, which is the canal cleanup plan. And we started that because of how it was, fish hook was blocked, so we went out and we got that done. James and I drove around the city, Friday, was it? Yeah, Friday, and looked around at different things that we wanted to get going and get scheduled. And what we're looking at is, unless somebody has other ideas, we would like to start with the entrance to Bass Canal, get that opened up. All right, and then after that, work on Fish Hook, get the overheads cleared to where people can get by there and pass each other in their boats. And then one that we just could not believe how bad it is the north end of the Grand Canal, which we've always known is bad. But we went there and looked at it, and there's so much of the pennywort in there that we're happy the boat's getting done, because we were wanting to be able to take and go in there and stack it on there, and we didn't know if we would take it back to the city works place. But we walked along the side of the canal there, that road access, and we didn't know if we're using the boat and getting all that pennywort up on there, is there a way we can access and stack it up on that road? And then there's the picture of the pennywort.
Yeah, it's
Oh, and so that's the trail that you're talking about?
Yes, that trail, but it is big enough that the truck could go down it easily. To where if we were able to take and offload that from the.
We were looking right there, the low point.
Yeah.
And then we could access it, and I've got like a, smaller little two-man fishing boat or whatever, that we could just launch out in there and start dumping it in and then pull that up out and dump it on the trail, we were thinking, and then.
Or there might even be a way for us to create some sort of thing with, 2x6s or something like that, to where we can
Skid.
if we can get it up there on that trail and then have Public Works come up there and get that, because that looks to be about the size of a football field or more, that's full of pennywort. And it seems like that's where it's distributed when the wind blows from the north and the south, that just puts it all down the canal. So if we were able to go up there and get that, get it put up there, we didn't know if you guys would be willing to take your trucks and go pick it up off of that trail to help us get it done.
I don't think that we'd be able to get a truck out there, especially one. I think we might be able to get it out there. I don't know about getting it out once it's loaded down. With all that wet weed.
Well, you don't have to do it when it's wet. If we put the stuff up there.
There's that bank coming down into the park.
Right.
That stays wet year round. It doesn't matter how long you go that way. And so, because we've had employees try to take the truck down to the trash can and get stuck with an empty truck. So, and that's not with our one-time dump. So I don't want to get us into a bigger mess than we need to. I think we could figure something out for access there. That's not that trail. We just might have to use the boat to take it a little further to a boat launch or something where we could just suck it off.
We could do that. We were just wondering if it was able to do it there because it's so close.
But the problem with using the barge in there is the props. I know, I got stuck. And the props in the motor, we can't
Prop on
get
this one
down.
has a shield on it.
It does, oh,
It does have a shield.
okay.
And of course, if you tilt the engine a little bit, we're just wanting to you know, the more you get on the front of that boat, it's also gonna lift the back.
That's
end of the
true.
bob a bit. So,
Ricky, there's this spot right here. This is that property that the city's got for sale, right?
where that orange house was torn down.
Yeah.
Pizza parlor.
Can a truck get in there? It's at the end of that golf, at the end of
On the back end of the green there.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
My plan for that is to have, the big Vector truck, because it has a boom. So you don't have to get all that close. You could even get it under a bridge. And you could suck it off from the side of the bridge there.
Oh,
Okay.
all right.
As long as we can coordinate that to work with each other, you know.
Yeah, that's definitely, we want to try to get that gathered up as much as we can, as soon as we can, just because we don't want the wind pushing.
Yeah, we don't want that going back down.
You know, everything else, because it just breaks out in huge islands. So those are our 3 focus points.
And then as far as that goes, I'd kind of like to see if we could put some time frames in to start working on this. And, you know, there's a lot of people that would like to volunteer to help us. And of course, some of us still work, some of the volunteers still work. What James and I was thinking was maybe like doing this stuff on Fridays and Saturdays, where that way we'd have probably people more able to come out and do some work.
Yeah, I have to double check the whole insurance thing, and then I'll get back to you.
Okay.
But,
All right. Okay. So then the other, unless anybody got a question on the next thing is just the waterfront clearing practices. Okay, and this is pretty much, you know, for people doing around their docks, or if they don't have a dock in their front yard. Okay, what they can do as far as clearing it, what is allowed by the city. Nicole sent me a thing that's 73 pages long. So I don't think anybody wanted to. She's thorough. Thorough.
Hey, I'm gonna get you all the information.
Right, you did.
The AI version?
Yeah. So anyhow, what I want to do is get this little get together and make up something that maybe we can have printed off, and maybe the real estate people can give it to their clients. Maybe the people,
Got a QR code.
yeah, or a QR code, you know, to where people know exactly what they can do around their docks and what they can do on their waterfront. So,
I'd say a good idea would be to run it by Marshall,
yes,
whatever you guys get done for
Right.
reviewing by him.
okay.
Or just planning in general, but he's still a supervisor till he retires.
Okay.
So once Ricky figures out the insurance, do we need to work with Marshall as well before we go like into, say, Bass? Because Bass is just, we're just clearing the entrance to it, not like, we're not gonna go all the way
Yeah, not the whole way.
We're just gonna do some,
any work we do in the canals, I'll clear with Marshall beforehand.
but, okay.
So he's our contact person.
Well,
I'll be the contact.
You're the contact person.
and you'll deal with
And
Marshall.
you'll deal with.
I'll make sure that anything we're doing is gonna be.
I think what he told us on that, as far as it's like an easement of the stuff that's overhanging the water, to where we could trim that stuff, because that's just like your property easement out there. To where, as long as we weren't going on somebody's yard and cutting down trees that were out there, you can't do that. But the overhead stuff, he was saying that is easement and it was okay to do it. They check on that.
Yeah, I'll double check.
All right.
And just to go along with that, I will let you know that I already have 4 people, 4 of our good citizens have volunteered to work with us
Nice.
on all of this. Yeah,
We told a couple more when we were out, Jay and I.
yeah.
They you know, came out on their docks. I'm like, you guys with the city? And we're like, well.
And the one guy on there,
Yeah.
And then we told them they could.
on that side of the canal.
Oh, good. Oh, cool. That'd be great.
We give your name and stuff.
Yeah, we can back truck it. If
Yeah.
we needed access on that canal. We
Yeah, we could do that, so. All right, so we got that out of the way now. Next one is, citizen inquiry regarding Bass Canal.
Yeah.
By Connie.
A citizen contacted Kurt, and I'm just going to read what he asked. He said Bass Canal has no circulation. It ends where it hits Albatross. If a ditch on the south side of Albatross was dug out between Bass Canal and Duck Lake, that problem could be resolved. The city already owns the land. The distance is nominal. My family and those we have talked with think it is a wonderful idea to help clean it up. I do too. At least one of the canals. I can only guess, however, I believe it could only be cost effective. Could you please bring this up? So I want you to know, now there's no answer on this yet, but I have talked to Frank and Scott, and we got into a good conversation about this. We looked at the maps. We saw where possibly it could be done, but they were going to go to the city, the ones that really know how to do all this and what's going on, and get us some ideas on if we can do it, how it could be done, and what it would cost to do all of that. So.
Yeah, in addition to that, Jay and I actually drove, that was one of our spots that we checked. We drove around on Friday.
Yeah.
And between Bass Canal and Bass Avenue, there's a house.
Okay.
With a driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And so they
right next to the road.
Yeah, they'd actually have to put a culvert through an easement there in his driveway and under Bass Avenue to get to the opening of the waterway.
Crap.
So it's quite a distance.
Yeah.
On the map, it looks really nice.
It does.
In reality,
But there's no room.
Okay.
I mean, unless the city wants to, impose that on this house and then bring it in, but even going through there, that's on the north end, right by Albatross.
Right.
And if we did that, the water going through there is not gonna flow very well because the water that's going into on that north end is mainly just kind of swampy. It's not really part of the lake.
Yeah.
Well, then it's probably going to end up being a big no.
I'm thinking it's probably not a very realistic, just because
Probably
it's
not.
through someone's front yard.
There might be a possibility of once we get the entrance to Bass Canal cleaned up for boat traffic, maybe it would be a little easier just to re-dredge that area there. That's like what, 300 yards, so they might possibly, that would definitely be cheaper.
Okay. Good thoughts. Anyway, that's all I had for that one.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'll let the city resident know.
Will you? Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
All right, so now we just got reports from the board members. Start out with Jeff.
Nothing to report.
Thanks, James.
Nothing that I haven't already covered.
Jim?
Yeah, I went to the Parks Department to their meeting this, a few weeks ago. I wasn't really on any committee, so I had to sit in the back and shut up.
Good man.
I had no authority whatsoever, but the Parks Board appointed a new president of the Parks Board. Her name
Is Stacy Lynn.
is Stacy Lynn. They talked about replacing or putting in lights in different locations. A lot of it sounded like our meeting. Short on money and high on ambition.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty close to it. They're very, very appreciative. They were very welcoming. I talked to the outgoing president, who'd been there, I guess had been the president for like 4 years. And, that was her last meeting. So they reelected a new president going forward. And I also talked to her after the meeting. My concern was about the phosphorus going in to the water system, through Parks Department. And they've elected not to use fertilizer.
We don't use fertilizers in any.
Yeah, so we don't have any worry about additional phosphorus or nitrogen going into the water system, at least from that particular source. And now that they've taken over the golf course, the maintenance and stuff there, if we could get rid of the main cause of phosphorus and nitrogen, which is, little pooping big fish. It's something that can be controlled. And they seem to be very, very open to working with us. We also talked about the north end of the canal and them wanting to do stuff on the beach part of it. And us obviously wanting to clean it up we're talking about, but, you know, I don't know why this never happened before. Because they're very willing they want to know what we're doing. And they want to see where we intersect with each other. And it was pretty good for not even being at that meeting.
Did they tell you they wanted to work with us, help us too? I mean, physically help us too?
Well, no, because this was after the meeting.
Oh,
I had to sit in the back. I couldn't talk.
well, I know.
I also.
Nothing
attended-
official happened.
I know.
I attended with Jim as well. So Casey Lynn is their president and Bill Shorrock is their vice chair. And then Laura Onen is their secretary. And she's also their appointed liaison for our group. She's not here to the video to kind of get up to speed because her job didn't allow for her to be here. Jim here's got his first baseball game coming up in mid-March here, right? You say? 13. So they've been working on North Bay Park, those guys up there, trying to get that ready for Tim. So if anyone wants to volunteer any time to help get things done, this guy.
Very close.
This guy is what they were doing. But they did say they'd be interested in meeting us for lunch and working with us and trying to get bigger work crews together and things like that.
That'd be
for
great.
All the parks that are on the water, you know, that we could work together. So it was a great meeting. They did good.
All right, Connie, you.
Water's status quo. There is something I wanted to just kind of bring out, this is for thoughts. I'm thinking about, I'd like to put together some sort of a pamphlet. This is from Ocean Shores Restaurants, but some sort of a pamphlet that we could actually have available that would talk about, you know, what we're doing, what we're trying to do. We could even put like QR codes in it that would state what are the good products that people can use on their lawns. So this would really be for the public to use. And list of treatment dates. This is always a big question. When are they going to spray this darn thing? So we could even do something like that to have, and again, we can do the whole thing with QR codes, or we could just have some stuff in here, then have codes for people and do both. That's all. I just wanted us to think about this and, you know, see if we can actually put something like this together.
I would also like to think about us putting together, my wife works with the food bank and they do a lot of artwork and stuff. They put things out for their fundraisers and the things that they're doing. If we could get something put together that we could go around to the businesses here in town, tell them, you know, that explains kind of what the objectives of the freshwater board is, and try to get people behind it. My brother-in-law, I was talking to the other day, and he's a Republican, doesn't believe in spending money. Nice guy, though, otherwise. And we were talking, and I was trying to explain to him what was going on in the waterways and what the intention was here, and that it was probably looking at, you know, costing a little more on your water bill to fund it and stuff. And you know, we both came to the agreement, we're not going to live or at least be able to enjoy the end product here. I mean, well, I'll be 85. I probably won't. But you know, it's still worthwhile for the rest of us. And it's worthwhile in the meantime, because it starts to bring people back in here. It starts to bring, you know, that this becomes a recreational spot. I mean, it was like they had a recreational spot here and they lost it. And people don't come here anymore.
Well, that's what they were talking about with the alum treatment, the other chemical.
Right.
In some of the lakes, they still what they've done with that. It ends up being
amazing
in months. Cleanup is all. And
yeah.
Turns it totally around, and then with yearly treatment, it just keeps it pretty and blue. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it can be in your lifetime.
And then, and get the carp out of here and get the bass back in. Then we can start with the tournaments, and we can be part of those $1 million
I don't disagree that it can be done, because I think it can, especially after seeing before and after pictures of some of those lakes. The biggest phosphorus piece that we're fighting is the groundwater.
Right.
Exactly.
So all of the groundwater that goes into the lakes and canals is filled with phosphorus because our ground is filled with phosphorus. And all of our groundwater, every time it rains, it all goes into the lakes and canals, straight there. So that's our biggest.
That's why it's gonna keep, have to have trees.
Yeah.
So,
Ricky, can we just figure out all the storm drains out into the ocean?
Would you mind?
No, that's right. Janet, you got anything there?
Nothing. We talked about bass quite a bit today. Just the pipes at the end of by Albatross. Probably nothing's gonna be done with those.
Marshall's
We're working on, I think Marshall's waiting on, I think it was ecology or something electrical, I can't remember.
Right, I did remember that. Checking the electrical, so. And then mine, the only one is in the South Grand Fish Hook and south end of Duck Lake, which is what we've been talking about, and getting it cleaned up. I mean, it's got some green in there, not as bad as it has been. And then, like we said, we cleaned up and got that one tree out of there, so. Two trees. Yeah, it was two trees.
That was
so-
two trees.
So you can go up and down it again, so. All right, so that gets up with our reports. Council liaison report, which is your turn, Mr. Dooley.
I don't have anything from the council. What I was thinking to bring to the council was to introduce them to the idea of the water recirculation. Get them start thinking about that.
The solar beads.
Or similar, yeah.
Or something similar option. I mean, it's another option, and there's nothing wrong with taking that to the council, and I just don't. Myself, I just don't see that it's
Would you rather wait?
real good,
I think it'd work a lot better in some of the more open spots that we have.
more open.
Definitely.
The smaller canals and narrower
Yeah,
canals. I think
especially
we need
Fish Hook
to-
Canal being so narrow.
Yeah.
A lot of the use of those goes to waste. I think the spots that he picked were like 60 feet wide. So even using up 16 feet in the middle, you have 20 feet on each side.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of that's going to waste if you can use a 1/4 mile radius all the way around it, so.
I can mention it just as an
Yeah.
option.
Yeah.
That's being looked at right now. Cost comparisons, things like that.
All right, now it's time for what we're gonna try to. We haven't had before, civil engagement discussion where y'all can answer questions and we can answer back if we know it. So let's go for it. Go ahead.
Regarding the Bass Canal entrance cleanup, is the city only concerned about the trees that they're gonna take out?
The city's not doing the cleanup. We're talking about our group going through and
They're
just,
taking the trees out, right?
not to my, no.
I don't know what tree they have.
Not at the entrance,
Bass
the ones
Canal.
that are farther up. the canal.
No.
They have 3 trees.
We don't have a work plan for anything on Bass, right, other than what we're talking about us.
No, I did say Bass, but I meant Duck Lake. It's a property that's on Bass Ave.
Oh,
They have 2 trees down. One's down and one's leaning right over their dock on Duck Lake, right
Oh.
next to Overlake.
okay.
Okay. Okay, let's get back to the Bass Canal entrance.
So the Bass Canal entrance is our plan is the Fresh Waterway group and whoever volunteers to come out and help. We're just gonna go along and we're just gonna limb so that you're not hitting your bimini as you go through there. That's the only thing that we're doing. We're not going in and dredging or anything.
Accessibility.
There was a plan to dredge in 2000, but that never happened. That was a contingency that we bought our property and
Yeah.
guaranteed by the city. It didn't happen. Anyway, yeah, we have rowing shell and we take a 20-foot swath and we go through that area with our oars. And it's only, sometimes the blades of the oars are literally touching the sand. It's like a bathtub.
Right.
So you're gonna have a difficult time trying to get over very far left and right.
We figured on a lot of that, we've been kind of
Well, I've
looked at
been
it.
working with John Wagner over the years and doing a lot of maintenance on that area so we could row.
Yeah, we went there and looked through it, and a lot of the areas there, we figured if we have our chest waders on and we have our pole saws and stuff, that we can trim a lot of it from standing on the side, so we don't have that problem,
Mhm.
being it's so shallow, then when we get to where we can get the boat, the flat top in there, you know, we might be able to get in a little bit more and get up a little bit higher than what we can reach by
Do you have any
standing.
other work boats beyond the 24-footer?
That's basically it, unless we use our own boats, which doesn't really work because of the insurance for the city.
What I used to do is all the stuff I cleared, I took two 12-footers and pulled it down to Overlake and put it behind, right next to the road, and then the city would pick it up.
Right. Well, we have,
Of course, retired and
there's a lot there. It's, what's that, the Elks? It's almost across the street from the Elks. There's a lot right where you come like this in an elbow bass, in the elbow of bass. And there's an empty lot right there that's nice and flat, and it has a dock down there. Well, I found the owner of that lot, and they said it was more than fine with them for us to use their dock, bring the stuff up, so we can take it out to the road, and then Public Works can pick it up.
yeah, I used to use the private dock on Bass Avenue for years and then finally easy permit. Okay, but, oh, thank you for that. I'll be happy to help you out.
Okay.
Put your name on the list. We'll
Yeah.
call you when we get out.
Yep. Yeah, if you want to, go ahead. I'll give me your name.
0-580
Bob Rhodes.
74.
I got the 360.
360 580 7461.
Got it. Go ahead.
Did you say that there were trees on Bass Canal that you were looking at cleaning up also?
No.
Well, there were two hanging over there on the north, remember?
Right.
Cruise and,
That might have been something that, I think I know what you're talking about. I thought Marshall said that there was 3 trees. There's only so many they can take down permit wise, and that there was 3. I thought he might have said something like that, but we haven't.
Well, I can say our neighbor has several trees that are leaning over the water and in the water. And I don't know if that is something, if those are the trees you're talking.
Well, I know we can't take down trees. The only thing we can take down.
Well, I
is
mean, the
limbing.
winds are in the water, so
Yeah.
they're in the water.
Some limbing that's in the way, we can take down. An actual tree though, we have to leave that up to Marshall and Public Works.
By Marshall.
Anybody else?
Yeah, where's these trees?
Go
ahead. What I did, that's what I was hearing earlier. Cost wise for the solar piece
One house north.
could possibly offset a little bit by advertising for you.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
If you could put advertising on top of them. It's a little bit of visual pollution, but if you got someone sponsoring it or whatever.
More like 4:30.
Yeah, maybe if they did.
Like businesses right here that want to pull people in,
Uh-huh.
they may contribute, we actually improve the canal a little bit. So just.
That's a great
That is a great idea.
That is.
You're hired.
I'm not in marketing, so I.
Yeah. Talk to people.
Okay, got it.
Talk to people.
Anybody else?
What do you guys think about reaching out to the schools? I don't know if that's possible or not, like the high school, like, Tim's baseball team saying, hey, come help us.
Oh, that's a great idea for Tim's baseball team. I'm gonna tell him that. That's a really good idea.
But yes, we can take teenager volunteers. They have to fill out the form.
Do they have to be 16?
15 years old, yes.
Yeah. I was thinking, it's a great resource that we don't use. I mean, that we haven't used, but if we could get like even the football team or.
Well, and the high schoolers, they're required to get so many volunteer hours. If I remember correctly, my daughter, she had to get a whole bunch of hours. So some of those kids are all about that.
So if we get a work date, what I was thinking is we could have somebody, a contact at the school or coach, whatever. Go ahead.
Doug?
That's good, but just keep in mind, if there are sports going on, they do a lot of it on the weekend.
Right.
So they might not, it depends, like if it's not baseball season, get the baseball team out there. If it's not football season, get
Right.
the football team out there.
Yeah,
And don't-
volleyball. You gotta get the girls involved too.
Oh, no, the girls need to do it too. If I can do it, they can do it.
Exactly.
I got a question for you, Nicole. So anyone that volunteers with us, do they need to fill out one of the volunteer forms? Can we put that volunteer form on our Facebook page?
Yeah, it's online. I can send you the link.
Thank you, ma'am.
We could also have them like on site.
Yep.
Right?
Okay,
Have them show
perfect.
up.
And your question about their.
Yeah.
their form, they'll have a volunteer form that they bring to you, like the kids will, the high schoolers.
Right.
And you just say how many hours they volunteered and then you sign it.
Okay, does somebody wanna head that up, reaching out to school? Finding out who the contact is, who we use, high school,
Don't you want to do that? Would you love to do that?
anybody going once, going twice?
Put half my name down.
Aaron would,
I'll work with.
Janet would love to do that. Yeah.
We probably won't need to do that until we get a little bit.
You can
more
hit me later.
up-to-date, but yeah.
Fine.
That we gotta work with.
Yeah, I appreciate all of you guys being here today. It's really nice
I
to
know.
see everybody here and hopefully, you know, we've been able to answer questions or try to move in a direction where we're making some progress. I think we've focused on one specific thing mainly. We've got that done, you know, through the ordinance change and then plus the boat. Now we've got the boat, you know, the city and well, they've got the boat and whatever not. But I feel like we're gaining some ground. It is slow moving, but we're all pretty new to this. This is the first time that most of us have served on a board. And this board is a little bit unique in the fact that we do want to get out and do stuff, you know, so we had a great time going out on the boat.
Hey, I still have beer in my refrigerator, fellas. And I just gotta say that one of the people on the shore asked if we needed anything, and Jay says, cold beer. The guy brought us 8.
Joking.
I know you were. Beers. He brought us 8 beers for the guy across, yeah. So these guys only wanted, yeah, so I ended up stuck on my boat. They're in the fridge.
It was a good time.
It was a good time.
We had a good time. If anybody you know wants to help, have them contact Connie.
Yeah. Y'all know how to get a hold of me? Okay, I know you do. Don't tell
Get a
Kurt.
running list going.
It's also important that you folks spread it around. You know, a lot more people,
Yeah.
you know, and that people start to become aware of what we're trying to do. And that it's not the same old stuff.
Do you all live on the water? Everyone that's here? No. Yeah. Well, that's good though, because even if you're not on the water, it's still important. It's still important. It's a community. Bring in different businesses and, you know,
I really appreciate all of you coming, and some of you are here every week.
yeah.
And it sounds kind
They come
of,
weekly.
I mean, every month, I'm sorry, every month.
They're really dedicated.
They are dedicated. I know that sounds kind of sappy, but it just makes me feel good to see your faces every month and that you actually smile and that you talk and that you ask us questions. Because even if we don't know the answer, we probably know someone that does.
Right.
And we're more than willing to get in touch with them and find out anything you need to know.
Go ahead.
You know, speaking of, you talking about you're gonna get too old enough to enjoy the waterways, you know?
Well, he is older than me.
Of course, I'm close there. Anyway,
Okay.
there were a lot of things.
You're a
going
lost
on
cause.
in the past. First thing that happened was the poker battle. Back around 2000. And so then we had several triathlons years in a row, starting in 2006. And the first harvester that we built, the only one we built, enabled them to have a swim portion of that first year triathlon. And since that time, we had Paddler Shores races every year, 6-mile races, 2-mile races, 1-mile races on the waterway. So there was a lot going on before a lot of you folks became involved.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see what I'm really enjoying seeing what I'm seeing here. You guys are willing to get your feet wet. Believe me, when you get in that water,
You know.
your pants are gonna be shot. They're gonna be brown or whatever, so remember that. But appreciate that because there's so many people who do want a lot of talking and suggesting, but they don't want to get their hands dirty. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The last meeting that we went to, last Tuesday, the council meeting.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you got up and said something after somebody was asking about the money. You guys got that grant. That you got up, like I was gonna get up, I bet you did. Said that, you know, if anybody wants to come to the meetings, you know, find out what's going on and, you know, some shorts.
Yeah.
Instead of just going out there and complaining all the time.
I think I told you that we just moved here full time in October. And so we started going to council meetings and other meetings and this meeting. One reason just to meet people because we didn't know anybody. But we love this meeting. We love what you guys are doing. This is our favorite meeting, so.
Maybe cry.
Nice too, friendly.
Can we have another woo-woo?
All right, I guess the last one, we'll check. Don Williams, have you got anything you want to put in here today before we move on?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say this has probably been one of the most informative meetings that I've been to, especially hearing about the circulation methods. And I guess there's lots of possibilities. What I'm really so pleased with is the support that's coming from the members of this committee. They're people that seem to know a heck of a lot about the waterways and have a lot of experience in it. One of my questions I had about the circulation system is that we have a lot of, like in the Fishhook Canal. If you drive down that canal, there's lots of debris falling, like leaves off the trees and other things. And won't those pumps get plugged up by the debris that's floating around in the water that's settling to the bottom? Even in the lakes, and that's something you might want to ask about. But anyhow, I just want to say that there's a lot of support to get the waterways upgraded, and it starts at the top of the city with the administration, and just seeing it coming down here with the people so involved in it, helping out Public Works and all, it's just very nice to see all that. But one of the things I think you have to make sure of is that the council knows. The council provides the funding, and that's where Mr. Dooley comes in. And I certainly encourage him to present the case. He does a good job at that, of what's going on in the fresh waterways, and make sure people are invited to come to this meeting. I mean, you can tune in. I'm the only one here on video, and it's so easy to do. So anyhow, I'd encourage a lot of information being given to the city council, because they hold the purse strings. And maybe even consider coming like the library does and making a presentation to them about what's going on. So those are my comments. I just see a lot of good things happening, a lot of people that know what they're doing, and a lot of possibilities. It's just a matter of getting some funding, and that may be coming along very soon. So thank you all. It was a very informative meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Don. Thank you. And just to answer him on that, about the leaves and that, didn't he say in the presentation that doesn't clog it up? That a little fishing, it won't clog up those pumps.
Come up and spit them out.
Yeah. So,
For that unit.
all right. So I guess that brings down to the last thing is we have a special meeting. We're going to try to do this probably at least during the spring and summer. Have a meeting in the middle of the month, which is basically going to be for us, but anybody can come in. The next one is going to be at March 16th at 10 a.m. right here, and it's basically an area where we're gonna hash out what we're gonna do with special assignments and things that we're all gonna be working on.
So you're just increasing the frequency of the meetings for a bit?
Yes, but the one is called a special meeting, and this could be mid-month, and it's basically gonna be, I mean, anybody can watch us, but we're gonna try to figure out, okay, well, you guys are gonna go do this in this part of the canal, you guys are gonna do that over there, and what's your input, and just to try to keep things moving along, because sometimes once a month is a little bit, not enough to get stuff done.
How do you guys all feel about that? That's on the board, like, because we haven't voted on that or nothing. I just threw it on there so we could get a schedule with the library. Is that something
fine.
that we feel like is beneficial to us or not beneficial to us?
I think it's very much so, because we've kind of all talked about this in the past. Once a month is not enough right now. We've got too many things between the cyanobacteria. Did I say it right, Becky?
Well,
Hush. And the weeds, because we're kind of splitting our team a little bit. This way we can come in and we can use that one to really discuss what we're each doing on all of that. So
just so the public knows, that's why we're doing a second one, is because we're kind of breaking off into groups, and we're going to focus on, one group is going to focus on the cyanobacteria treatments and what is the most effective, and what we're being told is the most effective. And then the other group's going to look at the aquatic weed issues. So they'll be focusing just on the weeds, like the parrot feather, whatever it's called. And so that'll give us an opportunity to actually sit down and discuss those things. But you know,
But you're all still welcome to come.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a meeting
Sorry.
regardless.
It just seemed doing it once a month. We were coming up with good ideas and then rehashing them the next week.
how do you feel about it?
Doing the committee meeting.
As long as we're getting stuff done, I don't care.
All right.
All right, so that's it. 16, that's the mid one, and then the next regular meeting like this will be on Monday, April 6th at 2:00 right here.
Nicole, is
I have
that, are we gonna be able to do that monthly then with the special meeting? They said, it. Okay.
Yeah, I already have you on the calendar.
Okay.
Thanks,
Right.
Nick.
Tell me to take it off.
So that's what we've got here. Do we have anything else? Anybody else?
I will make a motion to adjourn if no one has anything else they'd like to say.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Are we no